The question is, why should you attend a seminar? Seminars have changed my life. When I went bankrupt 33 years ago, luckily I listened to a little tape. I sold my way through college, and I listened to this one tape by Cabot Robert, the Dean of Speakers, and it was called Are You the Cause or Are You the Effect? And I found out that I was the creator of the cause in my life, and I said, God, I got to go hear this guy. I write him a letter, and to my amazement, he writes me back and says, I'm doing a seminar in Arizona. I had no money. I mean, no money. I'm $2 million upside down. I had two guys put up a credit card, one for lodging and food and one for transportation. Go to Arizona, listen to him say you could change your life if you wrote a book. And he said you could do a multi-authored book. So Kevin Roberts said, a multi-authored book? I said, I could do that. All I'd have to write is one little bitty chapter. I hit the guy next to me and I said, law of attraction in action. And you got to do, the law of attraction only has traction when you're in action. I hit the guy next to me, Keith DeGreen, who's a great lawyer. I said, are you any good as an editor? He said, man, I was head of the law school journal. I said, you want to do this book with me? He said, what are you good at? I said, I can sell the people. And I sold 14 people in a room. They didn't know I didn't have any money or any wherewithal. They put up $2,000 each. We did a book called Stand Up, Speak Out, and Win. That year, from the platform, handling a little book that had a bunch, 14 different chapters in it, I sold 20,000 copies at $10 each. I took in $200,000. I thought I'd died and gone to heaven. I was under the spout where all the good things poured out. It was so amazing, so exquisitely exciting. So law of attraction is always working, and if it's not working for you, it means your vibration is not in alignment. Your vibration is where you go inside your inner being. There's two beings. There's a physical being and a non-physical being. The more powerful is the non-physical being. The more powerful is the inside, which is out of sight. And the inside, which is, I wanted to sell those books. Then when I came along with Chicken Soup for the Soul, I said we'd sell $1.5 million in a year and a half, and then sell $100 million, which we've done, and now we're going to sell $1 billion, which no one's ever done that before, not fiction or nonfiction. And Jack and I have made ourselves the top authors because we came at a core belief level, and we keep sending out a unitary vibration, so the universe ultimately and inevitably has to respond. So if temporarily, you know, the line in Timothy says, if you ask and receive not, you ask amiss. It means your vibration is amiss. Your vibration's over here. You need to get in alignment inside and outside, and in the whole world will let the law of attraction work to your beneficence.
Very good. And that's why people should attend seminars. So then we wanted to talk about, what Harv wanted to talk about too, was messages that we could send to the world, what we can all do for the world. And you kind of hit on that. You hit on it with the education and then the omni-considerate. So if you want to elaborate a little bit on what we can do for the world in omni-considerate.
The question is, can we make the ecology and the economy sustainable? And the answer is 100% yes. Now the media, which is really the prayer list to God, says this isn't working, this isn't working, this isn't working. And what happens is they don't know what I know. I travel around the world full time, 250,000 miles a year. I meet people. I'm a great tourist. I'm a great friend of a lot of people. I'm being showed the high, lofty, and inspired stuff. Like one of the people you have on camera is my dear friend Art Linkler. He's doing the greenest green energy, solar energy, and has 28 patents on it, and he is going to energize the world that way. Willie Nelson, one of the great singers of On the Road Again, has spent $38 million figuring out how to squish soybeans, of which is a legume, one of 200, and then we're taking all the human waste and we're turning it into cellulose energy, and we're ending up with paper products. So we're taking energy, which is Einstein's equation, E equals mc squared. Energy is matter and energy is radiant energy, to be used and vectored and shunted and programmed. So we're in the most exquisitely exciting time. We've now learned how to distill water from the air. The world doesn't know that. We now know how to clean up all the water. We now know how to do ocean fishing. We now know how, and I'm helping replant the coral reef in Australia and replant the second biggest reef in Belize. We're doing stuff that's never been done, but it's all below the radar. So if you're watching this and if you're attending seminars with my great friend Harv, what you're doing is you're starting to get above the radar. You're starting to see the screen. You're starting to get rid of the morass. You're starting to get rid of the cobwebs. You're starting to understand that for the first time in human history, we can be omniconsiderate, not for a few of us and have a few rich and everybody else poor. For the first time in human history, we can have everybody rich, make everybody better off and nobody worse off. That has never been possible in human history. I just got back from Greece, where I was at Ephesus, which is all out of marble, and the slaves had to walk in the dirt, and all these other, the higher class walk there. For the first time, everybody can walk in marble. We've got enough resources to totally take care of total humanity. 7 billion of us, which is fast in the next decade going to become 10 billion or 12 billion. And the way, when I was just in China, the head of the Chinese government, the Circle of Seven, is saying, you know, Mark, what is it we can do? And I said, you're doing it the wrong way. The world objects to infanticide. The world objects to your birth control habits. But what we've discovered is, when I was with Bucky Fuller in graduate school working on my doctorate, what happens is when we overlay the maps, when kilowatt hours, energy per person comes up, birth control levels or it decelerates. And I said what we got to do is safely, quickly, effectively, and efficiently bring the kilowatt hour energy up and get rid of the pollution. We can't be doing it on coal like you're doing it. We need to be doing it on solar. We need to be doing it on biomass. We need to do it wind. We need to be doing geothermal. There's 28 ways to do it, and I'm just giving you the glittering highlights because it is. Other people thought they're in the most exciting time in human history. We are in the most exciting time in history, and we also have a privileged position of taking ourselves to utopia, which is what I believe and teach and practice and am inspiring others, or oblivion. If we don't get off the self-starter switch of petrochemicals, if we don't go on to higher thinking, if we don't start using the resources in what, as I said, is an omni-considerate, an all-considerate way, we're going to lose the ship. We've got a decade. I think we're in an important, critical time. And I think there's enough of us that have enough leadership awareness to say we got the software to make the hardware work. And it's the first time in human history that we've even known that. Let me go one step further and say, my dear friend Buzz Aldrin said that when he went to the moon as one of the first astronauts, he took his thumb, and back then it was only 6 million people in 1968 or 69, and he said 6 billion problems disappeared. Well, they can disappear and the universe won't care. I'm saying let's have them appear, but let's have it appear at a higher, loftier, and more inspired, more thoughtful, more positively self-correcting way by upping people's self-esteem, self-love, self-worthfulness, self-energetic, so everyone feels good about themselves, good about the earth, and we'll stop war, because either war is obsolete or humankind is.
Very good. And that kind of led us into this being the Woodstock of the mind, because, you know, the Woodstock originally kind of formed and changed a generation. And so did you want to elaborate on something in the Woodstock of the mind?
Here we are at the seminar of the century. My dear friend Dr. Barbara DeAngelis is talking in the back. I know every one of the presenters. All of them are deeply ingratiated, and all of them have a good core. All of them are trying to uplift the best of the best, learn the best practices, the best techniques, the best tools, the best talents. All of us have done our best creating the best books, the best materials, tapes, videos, and for the first time, humanity can go to a higher level. And you say, well, how important is that? I said seminars have been the thing that have changed my life. A seminar got me out of bankruptcy into richness. A seminar got me out of being single. My goal was to marry my idyllic woman, and after 31 years, I found her, and we were happily married 27 years. Then, because I couldn't have kids for whatever reason, we did all the testing. We decided to adopt. I announced it in a seminar, and I got two of the most glorious kids. They happen to look just like us, and we're finishing a new book now called Chicken Soup for the Adoptive Soul, because I want every kid to be a loved kid. When I was just in Africa with the guy who Feed the Children, Larry Jones, he told a story about he started it when he was in the Dominican, and he was a rich businessman, and a kid came up and said, look, man, I'm starving, I need 9 cents. And he started Feed the Children for 9 cents. I'm with him, and he's now got the world's biggest orphanage in Nairobi, which they call Nairobi because people are thieves there, because there's too many people and not enough employment, because there's not enough thinking. There's no lack of employment in the world. There's no lack of anything. There's lack of awareness, lack of good thinking, which I'm about trying to help transform. And you know, the Bible says, be transformed by the self-renewing of your mind and then inspire others' minds. Larry said this little kid was taken off the lap of his mother, put on another lap, and said, take care of my kid, I'll be right back. She disappeared, never to be seen. He told that story. I went in, and because I've got a grandson 3 years old, and this kid is 4, and he had toothpick thin legs. I said, Larry, you got me. He says, what do you mean I got you? I said, I'll adopt him. And I adopted little Brian Arian on the spot, and I'm helping out the whole orphanage, and I'm inspiring other people to do it, because every kid deserves to be a loved kid. If you're alive, you've got a soul. If you're a soul, you deserve to be fed, housed, you deserve to have clean water, enough food, a roof over your head, and at least a basic education. And then hopefully they'll come to seminars like this, which are critical to fire our ambitions, to fire our desires, to fire us to go